What would happen if you could stop worrying so much about what your team was doing all day and instead focus in on what you're supposed to be doing to move your business forward? Sounds like a dream, but right now you're living the nightmare of having to overcoach, over-handhold, and over-check in on your team's work. Let's put an end to that and instead roll out super clear 5-hour work plans, drum beats, and more of my signature tools that drive accountability and self-sufficiency deep into your team. All you have to do is join a Leadership Lab program, and I'll help you turn your team troubles into triumphs. You'll be learning and growing alongside some peers that will become valuable business friends. So why not go beyond this podcast and join us? It could be the smartest thing you do this year. Book a call with me and see what program would best fit you over at the website, stackingyourteam.com/programs. Hello, leader. This is a companion episode to last week's when we talked about fatal mistakes that leaders make in their one-to-ones that fuel the number one reason why people quit. Do you remember what the reason was? Here it is. They don't feel connected to you or the work that they do. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's why people move on. Now, last week, we discussed how to tighten those connections with individuals through one-to-ones, and I gave you some strategies to help you stay consistent and effective with hosting your one-to-ones. And if you missed that one, I want to encourage you to go back and listen. It also has a quick pop quiz in that episode that will likely be very eye-opening for you. But what do you do to help maintain the connections with everyone when you have a large team? I mean, come on, you can't spend all of your time hosting one-to-ones when you have a large team. And if you have a leadership team, isn't it their role to host those one-to-ones? Aren't you supposed to be focused on setting the vision and doing more business development? Well, aren't you? Let's figure this out. Get ready to hear some practical strategies for showing up for your team without having to slam your calendar with frequent back-to-back one-to-ones for everyone on your big team. Oh, and at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an inside peek into what's coming up this spring and summer here on the podcast. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. Thanks for tuning in and following your curiosity to learn and honor your personal conviction to be the best leader you can be. On this podcast, you won't hear a bunch of theories presented by academics who haven't been in a workplace in years or ever, and you'll not hear from executives who are flush with capital, people, and pool tables in their cafeteria telling you how to build team culture. Nope. Why? Because you are a small business owner and you've built something great out of nothing. And through it all, you've learned that you need a team, but not just any team. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. I've led winning teams in retail, innovative technical teams at a Fortune 50 corporation for decades, not-for-profit boards, and in online business, and helped many remote teams win at work. And I can tell you that no one escapes team troubles, including me. These days, I'm the CEO of Stacking Your Team, where I teach and develop tools for small business owners so they can attract, retain, and develop their teams so the founder can step out of her day-to-day operation. I'm so happy you're here because we all know that the people side of running your business is often the most difficult, and the team that got you here may not be the team that gets you there. So come on, let's jump in to today's episode. I know leading people while serving your clients and customers can be challenging because you don't always know how to divide your time. Your energy is zapped, and before you know it, you haven't had a quality conversation with anyone on your team in a long while. So why is this a big deal? Well, it's because people quit when they don't feel connected to you or the work that they do. For real. It happens all the time. It can happen quickly or over a longer period of time when one situation disrupts how they feel and how they see themselves at work. Something is different and they don't like it, so they start to pull back. Sometimes they start to undermine you. Sometimes they rally other team members to align with them. And before you know it, there's a significant us versus them attitude on your team. Yikes! There's so much at risk when this is your team culture. And if you think this kind of stuff only happens in big corporations, think again. It happens in small business too. I've had clients who've had people quit within a half an hour of each other. I've also had a client who suffered through a mass exodus of people over a few days, all stemming from what happened in a team meeting. And I've had clients who lost one team member after the other because they believed they'd be better off out on their own. Update, they were not. You are a small business owner who built something great from nothing, and now you have a large team. Some of you have smaller teams spread out over multiple locations. Some of you may have multiple businesses, so you have a team for each one. Some of you may be realizing that your team is getting really big and you want to make sure you're not suffering through team turnover troubles. So let's walk through some of my favorite strategies for staying connected to your large team without thinking that you have to lose large blocks of time to host one-to-ones with everyone. Now, you've heard me mention many times here on the podcast all these years, and my clients have certainly taken notice of this, but ideally, you would have 5 or less people directly reporting to you. Any more than 5, and you're risking not providing quality feedback and coaching to anyone. And you're more apt to cancel one-to-ones if you have too many people who need your direction. So when people join the Leadership Lab programs, they start to build or they refine their leadership team. It's those leadership team members that become your direct reports, and they take on the responsibility of leading your extended team. However, you can't abdicate your leadership responsibilities to your extended team, leaving all the one-to-one face time for your leadership team to do. No, your team needs to see your face, hear your voice, and communicate with you too. One way that you can do this is to host quarterly 2-to-1s, meaning you'd plan time with individuals and their direct leader and yourself. These would be a half hour or less, a gathering whereby your leadership team member highlights the accomplishments and the key priority areas of that team member's 5-hour work plan with you. This 2-to-1 is a great chance for you to ask questions that kickstart your team member to open up with you, own their results, and share ideas for all of you to get aligned on their next steps, while you can also reinforce your standards. It's a great chance to retell how this person and what they do fits up and into the strategic plan for the business, making it clear that their contribution really matters. Another way to demonstrate that you want to be connected to your large team is to craft a monthly CEO letter written specifically for them. These letters are popular, especially if they have a casual feel to them, include photos and videos, and are set on a drumbeat that your team can anticipate when the next one's going to arrive. You can also lean on your leadership team members to suggest hot topics. I especially like a CEO letter that includes stories about this time last year and, hey, this reminds me of year 3 when we were up against this. It helps to tether people to you, the history of the business, the good times and the bad times, and remind them that they're part of something big. Even if you're not that big in terms of whatever the heck social media is telling us these days about how many so-called figures is a successful business. It's not about how much revenue you make. It's about the impact you're having. You also want your team members to feel great when someone asks them about the work they do at the summer backyard barbecue. A third strategy for showing up for your large team is to host roundtable discussions each quarter. These can become very popular as it makes it normal for your team to see you being present and ready to answer questions and hear concerns. Having a leadership team member attend to take notes, capture themes, and back you up or reiterate something in such a way that connects the dots for the team can be super helpful, especially if you're not 100% aware of who everyone is. Now, this can happen, especially if you've grown quickly and you're not neck deep in your hiring processes. You can also have team members who are seasonal, very part-time, or have joined the team for a special project. Showing your face and being ready to hear what they all have to say levels the playing field and helps everyone feel that you care about what's on their mind. Roundtable discussions are also a great way to roll out something new or reinforce your standards through storytelling, client testimonials, celebrating achievements, and shining the light on what's being said about your team, the brand, your products, and your services. A fourth strategy to help build deeper connections with your large team is to host casual meals with a small group of team members that don't directly work with each other. This is a great way to deepen their relationship and foster respect for the knowledge and contribution of team members who may be focused on very different priorities, but linked together by the mission of your small business. The larger your team, the more important these small meetups matter because it compounds your efforts to deepen your relationships with them. And at the same time, it acknowledges that it's difficult for team members to have quality time with each other to get to know one another simply because of their workload, their location, their hours that they work, or proximity. I love a small group meal to celebrate a person either for a personal achievement like buying their first home, an engagement, having a child, an athletic win, or a work accomplishment that signals to everyone that this person matters. It's even better when you give them time to talk about what they learned along the way to reaching this goal or the outcome. These gatherings don't take a lot of money or effort, especially as a leadership team will orchestrate the details. But by participating in them and making the person feel valued and highlighted, it goes a very long way in helping them feel connected to you and their work. The fifth strategy to help your team members feel more connected to you and the work they do is to teach and roll out new concepts, plans, and strategies. You're already doing this with your leadership team, meeting with them every month as a group. So why not take a piece of that content and roll it out to your extended team? You can do this via mini videos or a small group training session. Start your own learning video library and add videos to your CEO letter too. Be open to questions and answers and look for an opportunity for a team member to lead a portion of this and act as a co-facilitator. You know, it's a fact that people will adopt and execute on a new strategy when they're introduced to it early with stories about how this will impact them. And ownership for executing on the plan is deeper when peers help to roll out anything new. Because you guessed it, the people closest to the work know the most about the work. And here's one last strategy that you can take action on to help foster deeper connections for your team members so they're happier at work, more productive, and take their role more seriously. Shine the light on them. And I mean this literally. Put them on stage, behind the microphone, on camera, out in front of your local community, on your website, and other social channels, in articles, and bring them to conferences, client meetings, trade shows, workshops, buying trips. Showcase them as trainers, facilitators, and the experts they are. Foster some spokespeople who are a great extension of your brand. This not only elevates your team members, but it acts as proof for potential new hires about who works alongside you, making it obvious that someone who looks like them also works there, and someone who sounds a lot like them would be someone who they get to interact with every day and learn from. Remember, people want to work somewhere that they feel that they're doing something worthwhile and that they feel they're putting in a worthwhile effort while doing it. Before I send you off today, I want to give you a heads up about what's coming up on the podcast. I've got some clients that will be joining me on air. I love being able to highlight the incredible work they do, and they always have something that we can learn from simply by talking about the hard stuff that it takes to lead small businesses these days. I've also got 2 new series that I'm working on. One is designed for your team members to elevate their leadership skills, mixed with a bit of tough love, reality checks, you could say. And I promise you'll want to use these episodes as hot team meeting discussion topics. The other series that I'm working on is a summer school series of episodes designed to bring you back to the basics of leading teams. These episodes will be your chance to refine the core aspects of your leadership style and your ability to lead and grow people. So if you haven't already subscribed to the Stacking Your Team podcast, you need to. And while you're at it, why not subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can also be able to tune into the episodes there if you don't want to listen in on your phone or from the website. Leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.